Hello and welcome to the Gothic Unicorn. Today I'm making something seasonal, a little bit spooky but definitely seasonal. And what I'm making today is going to be a little pumpkin patch. Now I'm not making a pumpkin patch for pumpkin patch's sake, I don't want this to look like you could actually go along and choose your pumpkin there. But I want to make a little one for decorative purposes. Because I know some people will make a haunted pumpkin patch for Halloween decor. And that's the kind of thing that's actually influenced me. So let's get on with it. I am going to start with the pumpkins, and what I've got here are my faithful putka pods. Now I'm going to paint some of these and give them a more pumpkin-y look. They are real seed pods of a plant and they come out great as pumpkins. And I'm going to add a bit of deep orange paint. I've got a couple of other colours here, but I think I'm just going to go with that one because it's that sort of stereotypical pumpkin colour. And what I do know is if I just put one coat onto these, what I'll get is a more natural looking colour. There'll be some bits that look a bit beaten up and that, which obviously sometimes you get with pumpkins. So that is going to be one of my first jobs. The other first job is obviously the base, and I've actually got that underway. Now this is a piece of a cereal box. I cut a piece of cereal box 4 inches square. Actually I cut 2 and I've stuck them back to back just to give it a bit more strength. Now I may stick another layer on here yet because it has, when I painted it black as an undercoat, it has actually gone rather not really warp, but it's gone a bit curly. And what I've done is I've stuck some 1/2 inch strips because I want to make it look like there's actual rows where the pumpkins are, rather than it being completely totally wild, which I know in reality pumpkins grow where pumpkins grow. I've never grown pumpkins, but I've grown other kinds of squash and they go everywhere. So that's the basis for my actual entire piece. Now I'm going to give that a liberal coat of tea leaves in this pot here. These are just unused tea leaves. I have explained before, but what they are is a mixture of broken tea bags, which you do sometimes get when you buy a box of tea, and the dust out of the box. In the bottom there's always dust that's escaped from the bags. I save it and I use it for soil. I do this because they've not been used, so I don't have to dry them, and there is enough variation in size that it can look realistic-ish. Some people like using coffee grounds. I like using this and I find I get a good result. So I have shown how I do this in a few videos in the past. I'm going to apply some white PVA glue to this, stick this on and then let it dry. So I'm going to go off and do that and paint the pumpkins, and when I come back hopefully we'll be a bit further along and I'll be able to actually start putting things together. My base is now ready. I covered, as I said, with tea leaves, and then I used a mixture of water and PVA white school glue mixed together to seal it, and this makes for quite a good soil substitute. Now I know I've got a few places that there isn't soil, but because I painted it black in the first place it should not be quite so obvious. And yeah, my extra strips don't look so apparent anymore, but they do give me a bit of variation so that hopefully it will work out. And I've also got, just off screen here, not that bit, some putka pods painted up in my deep orange paint. Now, as I said, I gave these one coat. You give them one coat and you get enough variation that they look dirty. They don't look like perfect pumpkins. And what I'm going to do with these is I'm going to stick them sort of a bit higgledy-piggledy along the pumpkin patch. Now I'm leaving this bit empty. That will become clear shortly. I think what I have found is, because these were last year's putka pods and I don't know how old they actually were, some of them have actually split after I painted them as they dried. So I'm actually going to use 8 of these that I've got there. I know they look kind of straight lined. They don't need to be. And all I'm going to do is I'm going to use some of my ordinary glue. This is my Cosmic Shimmer Specialist acrylic glue, which I love. And I'm going to put some of that on the bottom, and I'm just going to pop them where I want them. I can change my mind at this stage, so if I want them less lined up, I can do that. It's all up to you, you know. You see, there's another one that's split there, but that's underneath, so it doesn't matter because it's going to be stuck down. I actually painted these ones a couple of days ago now to give them plenty of time to dry out, and I'm quite happy with them. They split after I painted them once the paint was drying, but they haven't done any more since. And I'll put this one this way up. Do them like that. Obviously, the number of pumpkins that you will want to put onto your scene will depend upon how big of a base you've gone for. I've gone for this size because it will fit in the basement area of my doll's house, and that for me is ideal because then I can use it as a doll's house decorative piece, or I can use it as it is, just put it somewhere as a little vignette. Now I'm going to let these dry for a little bit before I start on the next stage, but obviously we don't just have pumpkins, we need to add some leaves and a few viney bits, so that is what we're going to do next. To give my pumpkin patch more of a pumpkin growing rather than just pumpkins dumped on the ground effect, I wanted some leaves, and I looked at the shape of leaves and the pumpkin leaves, and they're sort of a variation on a kind of ivy shaped, and I don't have an ivy shaped punch. I don't have anything in a suitable size, but what I did have is a heart shaped punch, which is this one here. And what I did is I punched out some green hearts, just coloured copier paper with an alcohol marker. That one's not very good because it's not, and I just decided that it's supposed to be a fake pumpkin patch anyway, so the leaves didn't need to be perfect. That would do. But I also wanted some vines, so I took some of this beading wire, and this is a 28 gauge green wire. I wrapped it around a toothpick to make it into a springy thing, and that gave me some vines, and I stuck them all down. Now I actually stuck them all down and I filmed myself sticking them all down, and I was feeling very proud of myself. This one's just come off. And then I realised that my camera was on the wrong setting and it didn't look very good. It kept going in and out of focus, far more than normal. So I thought, okay, we'll scrap that. We'll just show you. So this is all I've done. Little hearts stuck on there. I stuck the beading wire into place because I know that pumpkins must grow off vines of sorts, because the squash that I'm growing, which is actually a kind of courgette or zucchini, it's a ball courgette. They sort of grow, the stems are almost vine-like, not quite as vine-like as these, but enough. And I thought it'll do for what I want. This is going to be a decorative piece. Now obviously you could cover your base with pumpkins, leaves, vines, whatever, and I've done. I've left a space in the corner for a reason, and yes, you might have guessed it, that reason's going to be a bit spookier. So up to this stage it could work for any autumnal scene. You know, you could do a little tiny pumpkin patch outside your dollhouse as part of your miniature scene, whatever. But I have to take it one step further. Excuse my chair. And to do that, I'm going to use one of these. Now these are pumpkin picks that I showed off in my last video, and they cost me £1.29 for 6 of them, because I've already done what I'm going to show you. And they're just made of polystyrene, styrofoam, with a little plastic stalk and a paper covered wire pick. I wish I could have actually found them on the shelf, not just one abandoned, as with the velvet ones that I found previously. The world wanted me to have them, you know. They were put there in front of me, but I couldn't find any more, because I would have bought more, because I think this size of pumpkin is great for a giant pumpkin at 1/12 scale. And I would actually like to have a go at cutting the top off one and making it look like it's been carved. Probably not this year, but it's one for the future. So I took one of those, and I actually did it while I was waiting for everything to dry yesterday, because I left this base piece to dry overnight, and I gave it a jack-o'-lantern face. Now if you've ever tried to carve one of these foam pumpkins, you will know that if it's solid, which these are because they're so small, it will actually go quite, you know, you have quite a bit of difficulty in getting the foam out. So all that I did is I prized out enough foam to make it look like there was an actual hole there, and then I painted the inside black. Fine brush, inside there, painted it black. I cut down the little plastic stem because it was too big, and I removed the pick. Now when I removed the pick, it messed up the bottom, but that doesn't bother me because that bit's going to be covered up when it's stuck down anyway. And I cut that pick piece into 2, and I've stuck it in the sides to make him some little arms. I just had to, didn't I? Now I filmed this bit as well, and what it actually dawned on me when I was looking at it again was he was far too shiny. Compared to these, he was far too shiny. And I have corpsed, as they say, a number of jack-o'-lanterns in the past. I've done ceramic pieces and plastic pieces, and I've made them look really rotten. I've got one that I've used for a few years now, which I absolutely love. That's all sort of quite yucky looking, if truth be told. But the one thing I did know is you need a duller finish. So I have just painted this, a bit of a dry brushing roughly, very much a put a bit of paint on and spread it out kind of technique, more than a proper dry brushing, just to take most of the shine off and make him look a bit more rustic, a bit less fake, obviously fake. And I think he's about ready. No, I'm not going to leave. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take some glue and I'm going to pop it onto the underneath of him, and then I'm going to pop him into place in this corner of my little base. Now he's going to take a little while to cure, and I've got one more thing that I want to do when I identify where I've put the materials. So I'm just going to take a moment and we'll finish it off. To finish my little pumpkin patch off, I have added some moss. Now the moss I've used is Easter moss, sold at Easter, and it's more coloured. There's a lot of pieces in there that are quite fake in their colour, but I can't find my other bag, so I've used what I've got. And all that I've done there is just put a bit of glue and then put some moss on top of the glue. Now I found these, my reverse action tweezers, invaluable, especially getting some moss around the base of my little jack-o'-lantern faced pumpkin, because I could get them in, rearrange it a little bit, not a problem. And I quite like how it's turned out. Not to everybody's taste, but as I said, you could just make a little pumpkin patch without the scary monster in the corner. Now, before I finish this video, I have been experimenting. I've been experimenting with this. I bought a file off Etsy from Bush Baby Minis, I think that's what it's called, and it was actually a file that was done for a filament printer, but I've got a resin printer and I decided to give it a go. Now I don't know if you can tell from looking at this, because I've used clear resin. It was what I'd happen to have in my printer. No, nothing more to that than that. But I printed these and they are the most glorious little pumpkin trick-or-treat pails. Now my painting isn't the best, but I gave it an undercoat of black and I've painted over it with my deep orange, which I've used for all my other pumpkins, and I really like it. Now I will say my one issue was with the handles. Shall I show you the raw print again? They're tiny. I printed that while it was still on the supports. Yeah, but they actually have little holes in the side of the pail to go in, and they fit. As long as everything's trimmed off nicely, they fit, and that's phenomenal. I glued mine into place because I was really worried about damaging it, but I want to be doing something with these soon, so I've printed so many. And actually the fact that I printed them in clear is going to be used to my advantage. I've got one here that I didn't paint everything dark. The face is actually unpainted, bottom is unpainted, and if I put a light underneath I can make it glow. I'm still working out how I'm going to do it, what I'm going to use it for, but I'm going to have some lit up jack-o'-lanterns fairly soon, hopefully for this Halloween. And I've just realised I've missed a bit on that face. I'm afraid I'm waiting for a new pair of close work glasses, and in the meantime I'm struggling a little bit. My eyes are letting me down, and when you work on things that are this small, and certainly on the 1/48 scale stuff, you need good eyesight or a good pair of glasses. So yeah, that's just a little sneak peek of something that I've been working on, and I will put the actual name of the Etsy shop on in the description box below, because it's a great little file. She's only just started selling files. She was actually selling printed miniatures, but yeah, and I love it, I really do. It's just so amazing. Anyway, if you've enjoyed this video and my little pumpkin patch, please like, comment and subscribe, and consider ringing that notification bell, because then, fingers crossed, YouTube will let you know when I put up another video, because I don't know when that's going to be. When the inspiration strikes me and I've got time, I'm filming, and I'm putting them up as I film them, so it could be any time. It might be next week, it might be next month, I don't know. I'm not promising anything, but until next time, bye.